welcome back to Sheepers Podcast. I am your host, Brooke Michelle. And today's guest, we have Sally Lotz. And she's going to speak about her time at in the doomsday cult. It is very still active today, but she is a survivor of it. And we are going to be chatting about her book. Hi, Sally.
Hi. I love your theme music, by the way. I was back here dancing to it.
I was too. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to start out by you telling my listeners what the Doomsday Cult is.
Oh, everybody loves this. So I grew up in the world's oldest and the world's biggest doomsday cult, and they are known as the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh.
Yep.
I know them.
I know them. And a lot of people like to argue with me and tell me that I'm wrong. And then when I start explaining to them, then they go, it's not what I think it was. I get it.
Yeah.
So that's my mission, to explain what this is.
Yes.
And how it really is a cult.
Yeah,
and it's a doomsday cult. Yeah, ask away. Ask anything. I
want to know exactly what it is. I know what a Jehovah Witness is. I had a few friends that were Jehovah Witnesses, and I've had a few knocks on my door. That was when they was knocking at the door at the time, but they don't do that very much
now. No. Now they stand out on corners.
Yeah.
So most people, their experience with Jehovah's Witnesses is exactly what you said. Oh, they're the ones who don't celebrate birthdays or Christmas. Oh, they're the ones who always come knocking on my door. That is just a teeny tiny piece of what they're all about. So the reason they come knocking on your door is because they believe that they need to preach to the entire world about Jehovah and his paradise that's coming. And when they preach to everyone in the world, and that message has been heard by every ear, then Armageddon is going to come, where Jehovah, their God, is going to destroy the entire earth and leave behind only those true followers who are members of the truth, which is what the Jehovah's Witnesses call themselves. And everybody else will be destroyed. And there's our doomsday cult. Oops, did I just knock you out? Hold on a second.
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay.
I can hear you on my
end. Knocked my screen out. Hold on a second. They believe that, like I said, they have the one and only true religion, and the only way to be saved is through following the ways of Jehovah. They can never even be sure 100% of the time that they are following exactly what they're supposed to be doing. There's so many rules in place and so many things that they have to do. It's a very fear-based cult. And so what you see typically is a happy person coming to your door, and they sound like they really know what they're talking about, and they sound very excited. But in reality, there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of fear. A lot of people cannot leave because they risk being shunned and disfellowshipped by their entire family and all their friends. No divorce. There's so many rules. I mean, I could go on for hours and hours and hours, but the biggest thing that I speak out against is they have something called the 2-witness rule. And so what that is if, let's say, Brooke, you had somebody who was hurting you physically, or you were a child and you were being sexually abused by a parent or an uncle or somebody in your family, you would have to have 2 witnesses who saw this happen, and you would have to go to the elders to report it. You could not just go to the police. You could not just go to the elders and say, hey, this person did this to me. You would be punished.
What?
So the other side of that is when you go to the elders with this report, with your 2 witnesses, the person who has done this wrong against you is sitting there. So imagine you're a wife who's being abused. Imagine you're a small child. You're never going to go report this, right? Because you're already a victim, and now they're making the predator the victim and making you, the predator. I mean, they just turn this whole thing upside down. So there's a lot of abuse that goes on. There's a lot of lawsuits right now that are being settled. But that's my biggest thing that I talk about because it's prevalent, and that's my childhood. And I'm surprised at how many people, when I start talking about it, who were ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, have my same story.
Oh, wow. So do you have a lot of friends that were in the Jehovah's Witness? Do you have a lot of friends?
My family.
Oh, they got out of it too?
No, just me. So I have 2 brothers who were never Jehovah's Witnesses, but the rest of my siblings, I have 6 siblings. The rest of my siblings are all Jehovah's Witnesses, and my mom. My mom is about 83, and they are still very much active Jehovah's Witnesses and don't really have, we don't have a relationship at all. I have nephews that I don't get to talk to or know. My mom joined when I was a very young age. I was about 6. And at that time, she cut us off from family. I had a big extended family on my father's side. I have like 9 aunts.
Oh, wow.
Tons of cousins. I never got to spend any time with them. I never knew any of them. Or my grandfather. My dad was never witness. They were divorced. So I still had my dad, but just very much cut off from the outside world at a young age, and very much taught birthdays, Christmas, any holiday, Mother's Day included, Father's Day included, Thanksgiving, were all basically of the devil. And if I participated in those events, Jehovah would hate me. I'm simplifying that for a child. So imagine you're 6 and you want to go to a birthday party and your mom says, no, Jehovah will hate you if you go to that birthday party and you won't make it into paradise on earth. You're going to die in Armageddon.
What?
Which was also backed up with the Jehovah's Witness literature that had extremely graphic pictures of Armageddon. They didn't have pictures for kids and pictures for adults. We all had the same books to study and the same material. So I was shown images of people being killed, ripped apart. I know. So very traumatic, very fear-based cult. That's why I say you see this happy person come to your door, and that's just a facade of what's really going on in their life.
So they're trying to get the word out to people, but do they want other people to join them? Like, that's what they're...
Yes. Oh, wow. The thing is, they believe that the more people that they convert, the more people Jehovah's going to save, and the better they look to Jehovah. So it's kind of like everything they're doing is to look good to Jehovah so that they can be saved during Armageddon. It has nothing to do with their faith in him, and he is not strong enough to save them from evil things happening to them. It's like everything is fear-based.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've always wondered why they did that, like why they came to the door and was handing out pamphlets and like wanted us to join. I'm like, is this a church? Like I would ask them, I was like, is this a church?
No. And in fact, if you've seen any of the kingdom halls around, you'll notice that they're usually very plain buildings, and they're usually got a wall around them or a gate around them. Usually no windows. They usually are very similar, and they call them kingdom halls. They don't want them to be anything to do with a church. They don't want to look like a church. They don't want to be called a church. They think the church, anything that's not a Jehovah's Witness that is religious, is literally Satan's kingdom. So if you're not in the truth, as they call it, a Jehovah's Witness, then you are serving Satan.
So how does the birthdays come in? Like, why not celebrate birthdays and things like that? Because it's, I guess, Christianity, I guess. I don't know.
So some things they say have a pagan origin. So if you ask a Jehovah's Witness, they will have a story, about King David, not King David, John the Baptist getting murdered on a birthday. He got beheaded, and they say that the birthdays are celebrating people and not Christian, like not keeping their eyes on Jehovah. So they will have a reason for everything.
Oh wow! They're one of those people that has a reason for everything.
Has a reason. However, that makes absolutely no sense, because if you read the Bible, there's other examples of people who celebrated their day and celebrated. There's nothing in there that says don't celebrate your day, because it takes away from God.
That's true.
There's joy, and there's lots of examples of feasts and things like that, weddings in the Bible. So it just doesn't make any sense. But what it is it's just another form of authoritarian control, where they all have to believe the same thing in order to keep the hive mind and the group together. Because once they start believing different things and thinking different things, then it's going to break apart. Which brings out another interesting thing that just popped into my head that I forgot. I don't know if you've been to church or you're a churchgoer, but let's say you're a Catholic and you went to the Catholic church down the street, right? Roman Catholic Church. Or you're Baptist and you went to the First Baptist Church downtown. And there's another First Baptist Church in another town, right? Those two churches aren't going to have the exact same service, right? You're going to have, even if you're going to the synagogue, you're going to have a different pastor, or you're going to have a different experience. You're going to have different music, and you're going to have a different message. Jehovah's Witnesses, every single Kingdom Hall, no matter where they're located, on the Sunday or Saturday, whatever time their service is, it's the same service everywhere. They're reading the same material. No one gives an individual sermon. They're given the material, and they do that. They can interject their personality into it, but they cannot vary from the material. All the songs are the same. So no matter where you go, you can expect the same message.
Oh, wow. At what age did you happen to say, I had enough of this, I'm leaving? And like, how did you survive on your own? Like, was you by yourself? Like, how? Man, I have so many questions.
So age 6, my life changed. And my mom also married a very abusive man. Okay. So we went into becoming Jehovah's Witnesses and having an abusive home. And I just kind of became this hidden child, because I knew if I just was quiet, my life would be fine. But I still had this fear all the time. I never really believed in Jehovah. I thought I knew he was fake, but it's your parents, right? Or in this case, it was my mom and my stepfather. So I didn't really have any choices. This choice was made for me. But I learned to lie from the Jehovah's Witnesses. They taught me how to lie. You lie to people when they ask you questions. You don't tell them the truth about the truth. You don't tell them what we really believe. You don't tell them that we shun. You don't tell them this. And when my stepfather was at his height of abuse and nobody was doing anything, and they were telling my mom that it was her fault, she wasn't a good wife, she needed to go home, she better not call the police because then Jehovah would be shamed. That was my life until I was about 15. And at 15, I had a boyfriend who was not a Jehovah's Witness. And I use that so loosely. I only saw him at school. We held hands in the hallway. I'd meet him at the library, we'd talk, because I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. I was not allowed to, right? Yeah. It's very, very sheltered and very encapsulated in this world. So for me to have a boyfriend was a big jump. Somebody snitched on me. And then my mom took me to the elders. So the elders is where you go for everything. They tell you what to do. They're your spiritual guide. If you have a problem, you don't go to a therapist. You don't go to the police. You go to the elders.
Wow.
So imagine you're 15, you're a girl, your mom drops you off, says, go on in, and you're sitting in a room alone with 3 men. You're already scared because you've come in from an abusive home with an abusive person. And they're asking me sexually explicit questions about my relationship with this boy. I didn't even know half of what they were talking about, but I had already made my mind up I wasn't going to tell them anything, because I said to myself, I have a monster in my house and they don't care about him. I'm here because somebody told on me. There's no witnesses except for one person, and she's not here. It's just me, right? So the rule changed. The rule completely changed when they want to bend the rules. So I was being punished for something without having 2 witnesses there. And so I saw that in my head. I was like, okay, monster at home. I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm holding hands. I'm talking to a boy. And I just went home, and my mom said, so you have to make a decision because, is it Jehovah or is it the boy? And I said, well, I'm choosing the boy. And my mom's face just like, she went pale. And then she said, well, you're a bad influence on your little sisters, so you can't stay here. And so I ended up, it was 2 long weeks that I was still in the house, 2 long weeks of nobody talking to me. I had 3 sisters in the house. They weren't allowed to talk to me. None of my friends were allowed to talk to me. I saw a friend in the store and she turned away from me because my dad was in the Navy. My dad was at sea, so I had to wait for my dad to come back. So the middle of my senior year, I moved from San Francisco area to San Diego. And I went to live with my dad, who I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
So it was like going from this world of everything you believe, your clothes, your thoughts, your books, your TV, how all your time is spent, what you can do, what you can't do, was decided for me, to a normal life.
Yeah.
But it was culture shock. I didn't know what to do. I was just like in this weird space for a while. And I was slightly afraid of my dad because I had no man in my life that was a good man. All of them were, either abusing me or they didn't care about me. They didn't listen to me. They were only invested in Jehovah, not me. I shouldn't say that. I had Mr. Valentine. He was my art teacher. But I could only see him in art class. Right.
So your father, he wasn't good in your life either?
My dad was a good man, but I didn't know him because my parents got divorced when I was very young. Mm-hmm. And he was in the Navy. He was stationed overseas all the time. I only got to see him maybe once every 2 or 3 years for like a week at a time.
Oh, wow.
And so that's not a relationship, right? Here I was scared because I was also scared Jehovah would kill me if I started having, a relationship, like this is my dad. He's not a Jehovah's Witness. I was told everybody who's not a Jehovah's Witness was evil.
Man.
So that was, that took me a while. I mean, eventually I had a good relationship with my dad because he was a good man, but that was just going from this to this. Now my story was good. A lot of people my age at that time who were kicked out had no place to go. And so they end up staying and coming back. They end up doing whatever just to survive, maybe living with somebody else or living on a street.
It makes me think of those people that standing out on the street. Some of them might be an ex-Jehovah Witness. Mm-hmm. Like they have nowhere to go. Like now it's making me think. And like if you're on the street, you can't get a job because you have to have an address, which I think is dumb.
Well, what if you're 15?
Yeah, a child too. Like
yeah.
Wow.
So sadly, a lot of these people who leave, who've left because they've been abused or they've been sexually abused or they end up committing suicide, and it's very sad. I just did a TikTok where I listed a bunch of names people gave me, and people are giving me more names. It's sad. That doesn't happen in a regular church. They don't kick you out and then people go off and, have no life. Yeah.
So why do they make them stand outside now and just hand out pamphlets?
So my thinking is the numbers in the Jehovah's Witnesses are going down because more and more people we have the internet now, and they're able to go out and research and see things about the lawsuits. They're able to see things in the outside world. Mm-hmm. The going door to door, and this is actually very timely for today. The going door to door is a requirement with a required number of hours that have to be turned in. When I was a kid, I thought it was weekly, but it's monthly. You have to do a certain number of hours and hand out a certain amount of literature each week and then turn it in. And the elders monitor it. And when you don't do enough, they reprimand you.
What?
Yes. You get pulled in to the elders' room and they reprimand you. You could either be punished verbally in front of the congregation. They could give you guidance and say, what's going on? Why aren't you doing enough? You'll get snubbed by the other Jehovah's Witnesses because you're not a good Jehovah's Witness. So they don't want to be around you because you're kind of like poison. And my thinking now is they're becoming... So the people now that are out there didn't have to do that. Now they're just doing the carts, which takes less training and less training. So basically, Jehovah's Witnesses, when I was a child, we went to the meetings 3 times a week, 2 nights and on a Sunday or Saturday. And each meeting is geared towards talking to people at the door and how to convert them to become a Jehovah's Witness. They're very good at it.
Oh, wow.
So I think they're changing their approach a little bit because they're seeing that people don't want to do that. They're not committed and they're leaving. And so they're making it a little bit easier now. So now you don't really have to go door to door. You can stand on the corner and just do nothing and hope people come up to you and hand them a QR code and have them scan it or talk to people.
Wow.
But now I think it was today they announced that they're doing away on certain levels with people having to turn in their recorded time and how much literature they handed out and how many Bible studies they had. It's only people of a certain level who do 20 hours or more who are like they're volunteers. They call them pioneers.
Oh, wow.
They have all these weird names for everything. I know.
Oh, wow. Let me ask you a quick question. This is going to be a dumb question. I know it's going to be
There's no dumb question.
But do they have different races as a Jehovah's Witness? I've only seen like white people as Jehovah's Witnesses. So do they have like different races in there?
Mm-hmm. So I grew up in Chicago, and the congregation I went to was very diverse. They actually they don't call them churches, so I say congregation. They actually have congregations that specifically speak Spanish. In California, where I live, they had Spanish and Russian congregations. They have some of the Middle Eastern languages. They're all ethnicities, but they tend to separate them like that instead of having them together. I'm not sure of the purpose of that. But that being said, they are extremely racist.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I was like,
yeah. There's quite a few outspoken ex-members who are on TikTok who talk a lot about the racism that they experienced. And not only that children and women have absolutely no voice. And so Black woman, no voice. Asian woman, no voice.
Wow.
As soon as you tag on, something other than you're not white, you go lower and lower and lower and lower.
Oh, Wow.
And of course, there's going to be those who say that I'm not telling the truth about that, but I have heard enough of it from other people who've experienced it firsthand. It's not my experience. I'm talking from other people who I've had conversations with, and that is their experience. And they've told me, and they've shared it with me. So I know it's there.
Yeah. I'm glad you're speaking out about this, because I've always wondered what Jehovah Witnesses are, like what they do and what they did, and if they were racist. Like, I'm like,
they are, and
off.
they're, the very scary part is, to me, the cover up of the sexual abuse. So you have like a pedophile playground, and they're not monitored. They're not reported. So you could have the worst of the worst, and they're walking around in your neighborhood. They could be teachers at your school. They could be, you know, working in the store. They could be coming to your door. So it's just another form of silencing a victim. And there's too many victims in the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's the reason why I speak out. I'm okay. Like, you want to go and preach the world is ending, that's fine. But all this other stuff that you're doing is harmful. Yeah. And you're making money off of these people. And yeah.
Do they really make money off of? Oh, because people are working, and oh my God.
So they never say we tithe, or they don't ask for donations. They have suggestions. But I just want to say that they had a bunch of property in Brooklyn, New York for a long time. I mean, that was donated to them, big buildings, and they sold it to, I forgot his name, Donald Trump's son-in-law, for over $40 billion.
No.
The world is ending. Why do you need $40 billion?
Right.
They continually ask for donations for the greater good, but at the same time, they want people not to have jobs. They want them to work menial tasks and menial jobs so that they can serve Jehovah. My mom is 83 and lives in poverty. She literally has to ask people every month for money because she can't pay her simple little bills with her Social Security, because she devoted her entire life to Jehovah, and she still gives them money.
No.
They have these huge facilities where multi-million-dollar buildings and facilities. No. And the stuff that you see in the carts that people are giving out, it used to be door to door. They pay for that themselves. The leadership does not give them the books and say, go hand these out. You have to buy the books and you have to hand them out, because you have to give out a certain number of books or you get in trouble. In fact, they call the people who go door to door publishers. That's their inside term. If you're a publisher. So they make a lot of money.
And then the people that follow them or that's with them don't have enough money to get food.
Typically they don't have a lot of money. Education is not encouraged. There's very few who are educated. I've only met 2 who have an education that they got while they were a Jehovah's Witness. Oh. If they have an education, they got it before they were a Jehovah's Witness.
I did not know that. I'm learning so much about Jehovah's Witnesses. It's crazy, because I always thought, that they were good people. Like, I mean, some of them are. Some of them
I want to clarify that I do not think the people are bad. Yeah. I think there are some bad people in there who know they can get away with what they're doing. But I think, just like any cult, these people who are there think they are doing something amazing, but they're not, because it's a cult. And so
are they kind of like brainwashed? Kind of like
it is a brainwashing. It is a brainwashing. People don't understand that terminology, but yes, it is a brainwashing. It's a very slow process over time. And they alienate you first. They love bomb you first, and then they start alienating you and start making it us versus them. and you agree with this as you go along, because it's like, oh yeah, I get it. And that's not just with Jehovah's Witnesses. There's many organizations that do that. I like to tell people, not all cults are religions, and not all religions are cults. So it's a way of thinking and a way of grabbing people that some people are really good at.
Yeah. Oh my. I'm like still in shock.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about your book.
Okay.
The Truth is a Lie. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
I do. I have a copy right here too. See. So I am actually a children's writer. So I write for kids that goes up to age 18. And my friends at the time encouraged me that I needed to tell my story, but I didn't know how I wanted to tell it because I didn't want to write a memoir. They wanted me to tell what happened at age 15 and how I got out. And so I decided to write it as fiction. And so that's what The Truth is a Lie is. It's a very condensed version of my life, my whole life from up to age 15, condensed down into like a 3-month period in the book. And it is a young adult novel.
Is it an audiobook?
I don't have an audiobook. I would love to do an audiobook. I need a benefactor.
I would definitely buy it.
I need somebody to benefact me some funds so that I could do that. But it tells my story of what happened to me and how I got out. And a lot of people tell me they read it in one sitting, and it's very eye-opening. It's gut-wrenching, lots of crying. And a lot of people has never understood what the Jehovah's Witnesses were. I also took the story of a few other people that I knew and kind of combined them. Because when I got out originally, I didn't know. I thought I was the only one with this experience. And as I started hearing more and more, so I didn't put all of my family members in here. I didn't put my brothers in. I didn't put my older sister in. And she's the one that really took the brunt of my stepfather. I made her a different person. But my 2 little sisters are in here. I changed a lot of names. I changed the time frame, but the city is still the same. But this was the best way for me to tell this story and bring enlightenment or bring awareness to what this cult is. And also, for young adults who are reading it, so that's like age 15 and up, is to make them aware of people who are around them. Like, because you said, right? Oh, they're happy. I always thought they were happy people. You don't know. That person could be going home and getting beat. That person could be going home and be so afraid to tell you anything. And, so it's like, be kind. It's like, just stay aware. Just ask questions. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to stick up for somebody. Don't be afraid, to call the authorities, tell a teacher. It's okay. Yeah.
I love that. I love that message. I just hope they get help. I really do. It's so sad hearing this, that they go through this, because I never would have expected this from Jehovah's Witness. At all.
Yeah. And that's why I wrote the book, because so many people told me, oh, they're such kind people. I'm like,
yeah.
If you only knew. If you
they're
only
so nice
knew.
and sweet. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they smile and stuff. And I'm just like, hi, nervous around them. They wear the little suits sometimes.
Yeah. And, I tell people, be kind to them, because they're used to people slamming the door. They're used to people yelling at them. They're used to people saying awful things to them. And you could be that one nice person that they said, oh, that person. So if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you're worldly. And you're told that all the worldly people are miserable and unhappy and they hate life. You could be that one glimmer of hope. They're like, oh, I met Brooke. She was so happy and excited, and she was excited to see me. Just be yourself. Don't Don't pretend to be something else around them because you're afraid of them. Be yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. What advice would you give those who are still, I wouldn't say, would it be stuck there? Or like, what advice would you give them that, would it, I don't know. I'm trying to find the perfect word for it. I wouldn't say trapped
So,
there.
no, it's trapped. So, most of those people are not going to be, if they're listening, they're thinking about it because it's against the rules to be thinking about leaving and to be watching things like this or read my book. They could get shunned. What I will say is Jehovah is a lie. He's not a real God. They made him up to fit the cult. And there's many people out there who have left and they're thriving, and there's a community that will welcome you and bring you in, and it's just one baby step at a time. You may lose all your family, but that might be the risk you have to take to become a whole human being and to experience what real love is, because that's conditional love. It's not love. And you may be the first person to start a trend within your family as well. They may all leave. You may lose them, but that's the tricky part.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So what do you mean there's a community that would help them? So whenever they get out, there's somewhere that they can go? Like, do they have?
There are so many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses out there who are on TikTok, who are on Reddit, who are on Facebook. There's some who are still very angry. I would not go to them. There's some groups that are very positive, and we're there to help other people. If somebody reaches out to me, I will give them the direction. I always tell people if they are getting out to go and seek therapy. There's therapists who specialize in religious trauma. I say do it, but I also say surround yourself with vibrant people who are positive and who aren't going to judge you for your past, who are going to help you move forward.
Yes, that's really great advice. I really hope people reach out. That's in the Jehovah's Witness, reach out and get help and get away.
Me too. I've had a few people who've messaged me. I don't hide it, and so I'm okay with it. But if you're a stalker and you know who you are, I will block you.
I want to thank you so much, Sally, for coming on my podcast today and sharing your story and speaking about your book.
Thank you. You can get it on Amazon, by the way. I forgot to say.
Oh, yeah.
It's on Kindle version or paperback. If you just search "The Truth Is a Lie," it'll come up.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. I want to thank you all so much for supporting She Births podcast. As I said before, I greatly appreciate your support. If you would like to purchase Sally's book, like she said, you can go on Amazon. It's on Amazon. And if you are in the doomsday cult, please reach out to Sally. And you can get help. You can get the help you need. You can escape that if you're trapped. Don't ever feel like you are trapped somewhere. You're not. There's always people there to help you. I hope y'all have a great day. Thank you all so much for listening, and see you next time. Bye.